Hello, Amit.
Andrew, how are you?
I'm good. I'm back in my normal habitat down here in beautiful Berkshire Heights. So yeah, I had a couple of armchair weeklies there going on, and decided to mix it up and get back down into the office. So all good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, mate. Thanks. Cool.
Nice. I can see a
Great.
few people dropping in.
Yeah.
So welcome, guys. Welcome to the Growth Show. Thank you for joining us if you are a regular, and welcome to the show if you are new. This is our, week 28 are we in now? 28? Episode 28, I think?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, yeah, episode 28. So we're now at episode
Yeah.
28, guys. What started as a show back nearly, well, just at the start of COVID, I guess, has kind of blossomed into this weekly show that we just can't stop now, right? It's a runaway train at it. So we can't leap off at this point. But for those of you listening on the podcast, thank you as well. So for those of you that don't want to put up with the way we look, we've put it out there as a podcast, and we're actually getting a lot more listeners. So I don't know how to take that, Amit.
Do you know what, mate? I honestly think it's probably best not to think about it.
Fair enough. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful, fair enough. So this week, as in all weeks, we usually pick a topic and kind of bounce around that. The idea is to give you some insights, and obviously, some opinions that we'd like to think are fairly well verified, from myself and you, obviously, Amit, over the years of experience kind of running, doing business, etc., globally. So we hope some of those opinions resonate, and ultimately try and give you some value to the content that we're putting out there. By all means, as always, jump in. If you've got any questions, there's a little Q&A or there's a chat functionality. Please feel free to jump in. And I guess, just we can crack on with today's topic, really, yeah?
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Yeah, I mean, just before then, I mean, how's anything sort of caught your eye this week? Anything that's been kind of interesting?
I think what's interesting, I'm going to take it from a regional play this week. So I think that what's interesting is that, so here in the UAE, obviously the capital is Abu Dhabi. Notoriously outside of Dubai, it's been difficult to kind of fire up a business in this part of the world as a freelance individual. So, not necessarily a business, but, you may be a professional, like a legal professional, or any other professional services, realtors, accountancy, etc. And it's been difficult to set yourself up. And it feels like, they're trying to make it easier for people to do business as an independent individual. Yeah. Double I. So I feel that caught my attention, really, just because, I was trying to, obviously with Dubai, they did a whole big Dubai tourism a couple of weeks ago about if you could work anywhere in the world, where would you work? We released a top 10 tips of working from home this week, and what you can do from that. And I kind of put it up on LinkedIn this week and said, it's not necessarily work from home, it's work from anywhere and everywhere. So, you don't necessarily have to have a base anymore. You can kind of, that butterfly effect, float around if you have the ability to do so. So yeah, that's what caught my eye. I think anywhere where it's making it easier to make a decision to possibly relocate or move to that place. I think these countries that are having those conversations, those open conversations, are the ones that are ultimately going to win. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, I agree. I think it's really smart. I think when Dubai kind of announced their initiative a few weeks back,
yeah.
I mean, that spread very quickly. I was getting people with, friends of mine from the UK saying, is this possible? How much do you reckon it would cost?
Yeah.
Could we kind of survive there? And these are people that are all employed by companies in the UK, but they've just been told, look, you're not going to come back to the office for the next 12 months. So, kind of figure things out yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And I felt, Dubai kind of jumping on that was really smart. I think Abu Dhabi doing it is really, really interesting. But I guess it also shows that, again, Abu Dhabi now, who typically are the kind of sleeping giant, tend to do things a little bit slower. or at a slower pace at least. The fact that they're now kind of thinking along the same lines, um, I think kind of, well, it says a lot about a country, but I also think, just shows where people's mindset is now, where perhaps it is a case of, okay, look, we've still got our own kind of growth aspirations as a country.
Yeah.
How do we kind of realize that kind of amidst a pandemic and obviously other challenges that exist? So yeah,
Yeah,
very,
but
very cool.
yeah, I mean, I'm speaking to kind of friends in, let's say, UK, Canada, US, and other colleagues. There does seem to be a bit of a migration from city to suburb, right, or city to rural. And I guess where we are at the moment, there's not much rural. But I think if you're in a place, I was joking with Liz over in the States yesterday that I think I'd get out of New York and head down to the Florida Keys if I could probably work anywhere in the States at the moment. I don't know about you, where your kind of ideal place would be. Probably somewhere close to Gus's Chicken, right? That's important. We need to make sure that actually anywhere we go, there's a Gus's Chicken.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, probably somewhere near Austin, I guess. Yeah, but no, true, cool. But no, I think that's interesting. But yeah, should we crack on, Andrew? I've got quite a few people
Yeah.
that join now. Yep.
Yeah, we've got a few more people that have come in. So yeah, I guess topic is very much in the now. I'd hope that people would understand what it is, but I guess we can say what it is. So our headline was really Black Friday, right? So Black Friday is going to be the end of the month. Do you know its origins, Amit? Black Friday?
I'm going to throw it at you, mate. But it's yeah.
No, you can throw it. Fine. You can just say no. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So because I obviously knew that was going to be the first question. I was like, which of us is going to ask it first? So so actually, I'm going to pass it straight back at you and pull rank for once.
Nice. I like it. It's look. Its origins obviously is based around the fact that it's the day after Thanksgiving, so kind of US centric holiday. And early kind of conversations around the fact just it was very busy on the roads and very busy after obviously Thanksgiving, moving into retailers. It was that day in the retail year that kind of started to turn a profit for a lot of retailers. So people were out spending money, moving into the holiday season. So it went from kind of red to black. But obviously, most recently what you've seen is retailers continuing to jump on that. And essentially kind of having it as a one-day holiday, right? So, a lot of the large physical retailers in the US, like your Targets, your Walmarts, your Kohl's, etc., they would open up their stores early, 4 or 5 in the morning, and kind of essentially have this one day of incredible sales. Actually, famously, Harrods used to have that one-day sale as well back in the UK. Where people used to get, mink coats for a couple $100 and things like that. So it's obviously, migrated and evolved. And obviously now with eCommerce, it very much is at kind of forefront a day still where there's kind of large volumes of sales. So, I mean, those are the origins, I guess, from Black Friday.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's very kind of been centered around retail. It's been centered around, the last maybe 10 years or so, kind of very kind of e-commerce, an e-commerce driven event. But it's still quite funny. I mean, like, I guess my first kind of recollection of Black Friday is just these crazy scenes that you see on TV when, it's almost like the British media are laughing at the Americans. So you look at those crazy people fighting each other for a TV and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because we had sort of Boxing Day sales in the UK, which is obviously 26th of December, the day after Christmas Day, right? Which I guess is the only real kind of comparable thing where you do get people queuing up at all hours of the night in order to get the best deals first thing in the morning. But yeah, I think it's it's interesting, and I think the way that it has kind of spread and evolved over these kind of last 10, 15 years, I think is interesting now because, I guess locally here, it's only been maybe the last 3 or 4 years where kind of Black Fridays had any kind of prominence, right?
Yeah.
I don't really remember any kind of.
No, no. Regionally, I mean, look, there was that crossover to the UK, obviously. So they started doing Black Friday deals to big, large retailers back home. You know, and regionally, what you've had is there's a negative connotation to the word Black Friday in Arabic. So it's kind of White Friday. It's relabeled White Friday in Saudi and places here. And now, obviously, there's a large e-commerce player called Noon here, and their whole brand is yellow, so they do Yellow Friday. So you've kind of got some regional connotations, but everyone knows it's Black Friday. Everyone knows a date, you know, that's coming up, you know, and obviously that's coming in. But I guess the real change this year is that most likely, unless some miracle happens, you're not going to get, you know, the ridiculous crowds that you used to get, people, you know, crowding not only for queuing, but then when the doors fly open, everyone kind of rushing in, because obviously at the moment we're just not allowed to, right? You know, and I think not only from the fact that you're not allowed to, but people's, you know, behaviors of shopping have changed as well. You know, the kind of the way that people are shopping, right?
Yeah, and that's this year. I agree. Look, this year's going to be very different. But I think, Andrew, just for some context, then, do you want to kind of, I don't know, do you want to kind of pull out some numbers or anything, or any kind of stats, or just again, I just think it'd be good for context to really kind of understand how big it is.
Yeah. So we can, you know, we'll kind of collectively pull in Black Friday, and then we've got some specific numbers around Amazon, right? Because, you know, I think everyone appreciates and understands Amazon is a global player. They're the ones that really kind of jumped on Black Friday, and they also have something called Cyber Monday as well that kind of jumps the Monday after Black Friday. So it's kind of that rolling, and then we'll talk about some of the other holidays that they also have kind of rolled out there, and some of the other things like Alibaba and stuff. But Black Friday specifically, you know, last year in 2019 saw just over 93 million buyers shopping online. So 93.2 to be exact. The sales hit an all-time high of 7.4 billion last year as well. 30.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is that dollars?
Yes, dollars. Sorry, $7.4 billion. 30% of retail sales occur from Black Friday to Christmas, which I think is, you know, interesting. A lot of this is obviously US centric, but there's still, you know, there's still relevancy to Europe and obviously here as well. 40% of shoppers made online purchases on Black Friday, so I think that's huge. I think, you know, regionally here we're a bit behind US and Europe when it comes to online sales, but it's still there. This next one I think is massively interesting. So they're saying that $2.9 billion of Black Friday sales were made through mobile phones, and I mean that's crazy. Do you buy anything on your mobile from your mobile phone? Do you trust it?
Yeah, well, as in, I don't buy anything through desktop. It's all mobile, I think.
Well, okay, so you're kind of completely mobile. Don't ever kind of fire up the desktop and that's it.
Never to no. It's always, and I guess it's always that convenience. I think with desktop is really kind of work. So I don't really get the time. But when I'm kind of sitting doing not much else, then that's when I'm on my phone. I'm very rarely on the phone during the day. But if I'm making e-commerce purchases and any kind of stuff like that, it's always through mobile.
So it's not, you know, at the bar making some dubious purchases after a few pints.
It might be that, but it's
that's the impact. No, yeah, look, I think you and I are quite unusual. I think we're very at the kind of end of the scale when it comes to mobile purchasing and the adoption of that mobile uptake. But obviously there's still quite a lot of that's going through desktop. Millennials played a huge part on Black Friday, so they were the biggest spenders. I don't know where they're getting their money from, but that's fine. And 50.4% of women Black Friday shoppers, so kind of that split. The amazing thing is that, especially in the States, Amazon counted for 54.9% of all sales on Black Friday. So you can imagine, you know, that they've taken the lion's share. So that's why kind of Amazon is so important when we're talking about this Black Friday. And then the average adult spends about $400. So I think the thing is, obviously, as everyone knows, that you do, every kind of, I guess that if you look at Asia, Singapore has a shopping festival, Malaysia shopping festival, Thailand, Dubai, there's a lot of shopping festivals that run, and you seem to get discount, and there's obviously that shopping tourism element. But for a lot of people that are just, kind of living and working and kind of saving, this is a chance to buy things for festive season, for birthdays next year. They were saying that on average, the average saving is around 37%. So it's substantial. Yeah. So there's a reason to kind of buy that. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's like really interesting. I think, and I mean, look, Amazon's a dominant player and only going to get even bigger, right? That sort of, geographical reach is just kind of expanding all the time. So yeah, interesting, really interesting.
Yeah. And look, so Amazon don't just have their Black Friday. A good indicator of Black Friday is usually Amazon Prime Day. So Amazon Prime Day happens in October, and it's basically for those people that are signed up to their Prime service. Now, I think you are, Amit, right? Your Prime service, are you here, US and UK, or just US and UK, or?
Yeah, all free.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, same for me. So Prime, basically, I mean, what is it now? $100, I think, for the year. $100. Yeah, I think something close to that. And what it does is it gives you free delivery, next day delivery in a lot of cases, gives you access to their streaming service, which is similar to Netflix. Also gives you Amazon Music, and there's a whole host of other benefits of Prime Day. So when Prime Day rolls around, not only are they encouraging people to sign up to their subscription service, Prime Day, but they get exclusive deals. So, when we were looking at kind of Prime Day numbers for 2019, they were sitting at $7.16 billion. Okay. So global Amazon Prime Day sales in 2019 were at 7.16. Now, obviously, this was going to be a good indicator. We are still in the middle of a global pandemic. People are obviously kind of, struggling in certain parts. But how do you think that affected the numbers in 2020? What do you reckon? The growth?
Yeah, I think there'd have been a small increase at the very least. I think when you look at kind of e-commerce as a whole this year, it's increased a lot. But but in all fairness, I mean, there's people who have probably got tighter purse strings now than what they had a year ago. So yeah, an increase. I don't know how big it would be. Not huge, I wouldn't think.
Okay, it was huge. It ended up at $10.4 billion. So from a 7.16 to 10.4. Okay. So over 3 billion increase. Yeah. And to put that in some perspective, to put that in some perspective, in 2018 it was 4.19. So 4.19, 7.16, 10.4, right? So this kind of, real hockey stick going on, right? As far as those sales.
Okay. Well, look, I think then in that respect, you've also got people who are looking for deals, right? I mean, there's a lot of that that's going on. People who perhaps, look at me thinking back now, I did it. I mean, there's a few things that I wanted to buy the week leading up to Prime Day, but knowing it was coming up, I was like, let me just hold out and see if it's available on Prime Day. Some things were, some things weren't, but saved a little bit. Weren't kind of substantial deals, but I guess there's a lot of people out there saying, well, if there's a saving to be made and it's a few days, then may as well kind of wait, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's very similar to Black Friday.
Yeah, I think there's a real, change in spending online as well. There's definitely, when I look at, parents, older uncles and aunts, generationally that pre-pandemic were just not used to shopping online. And perhaps kind of people that just traditionally did their shop, go to the shop. There's a whole host or raft of individuals now that have just moved that entire experience online because they had to. It wasn't a case of like you've got a choice, they had to. And perhaps the fears of, is it safe? Is it secure? I'm going to be able to return something? Is the delivery going to come on time? All of these kind of fears that almost kind of prevent people from doing that first time online purchase. It forced them into doing that. So I feel, I mean, it's just an opinion, obviously, but I do feel that this has an impact on those numbers as well, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, I mean, look, Amazon, in the Amazon world, and we've kind of briefly mentioned Cyber Sunday Cyber Monday. So Cyber Monday is all your tech, kind of pieces, and there's obviously a lot of tech that Amazon provide. We don't see much of it here, but like Fire Sticks, Fire Tablets, phones, the Alexas, all of these kind of owned Amazon products, plus obviously the mobiles, desktops, MacBooks, etc. So they do a Cyber Monday, and last year that was 9.4 billion as well. So huge numbers when it comes to Cyber Monday. So you're talking, let's see where that goes this year. But I think it's kind of on track now. Before we kind of get into, okay, great, guys, why should I care about this? Get to that point. There's just one other, company that we need to talk about, and a day that we need to talk about. And I feel like some people may have seen for the first time this year, this creeping into other brands. Now, Alibaba is obviously, a huge player in the e-commerce space. And what they have in their world is they have something called Singles Day. Now, Singles Day is the 11/11, so 11th of November.
Yeah.
And last year, that one day generated $38 billion in sales. So again, when we kind of look at the 10 billion that Amazon did on Prime Day, it's considerably larger, right? So one day sales, 38 billion. They did something a bit different this year. They decided to do a singles, not a week actually, but like just over 10 days. And they started on the 1st of November and they ran until the 11th. But during that time, they managed to drag in more than 38 billion. So where do you think that's at? As far as, what do you reckon that number may have been?
Well, you got 10 more days, right?
Yeah.
Is this just Alibaba? This is just Alibaba data?
Just Alibaba, yeah.
Okay. 60.
Okay, 60 billion, yeah. It was actually 74.1 billion.
Okay.
With a B in those days. So again, different type of business. So Alibaba is not your, only, and those of you that have been on Alibaba, it's not just your consumer driven activity, it's also B2B as well. So you can go on to, Alibaba and buy, if you want to, 1,000, Bluetooth speakers that you might want to sell on, or, you can buy pipe coatings, etc. So combination, whereas, Amazon to a certain extent, actually in Europe and here is very much B2C driven. It's B2B over there. So I guess, there's what I'm really trying to say with this is people are spending money at these particular points, right? So when something's been flagged, hey, listen, something's going to happen here, I'm going to get it. So I guess, this is really why we should care. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So those of you thinking kind of, okay, well, why should I care? The fact is that now we're seeing, global excitement and global coverage around these holidays. Let's call them holidays, right? A spend holiday or a buy holiday, whatever we want to kind of frame it. So we're actually seeing this, rolled out globally. So this isn't that US centric activity now, rolls across Europe, because, especially if you look at like an Amazon are pretty much everywhere. And where they're not, they go in and they buy the dominant player, like down in India with Flipkart and here with Souk. They take over that dominant player, and then they just, during the course of, a couple of years, they rebrand and it's Amazon, right? So you have this global. Alibaba, similarly, Alibaba are setting up regional hubs. So effectively, they're now delivering globally as well. So you've got these kind of behemoths and global players. So obviously this starts to impact, as you said, some more. We had that regional Boxing Day. It's unlikely that something like Boxing Day would translate well to Malaysia. right? Or Dubai. Whereas something like a Black Friday has managed to translate very well.
Okay. So cool. Let's look. We've got a few people on, and I'm guessing they're kind of wondering, okay, like how? Okay, so in terms of Black Friday, what can we do? So first and foremost, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but Black Friday is on the 27th, which is next Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So week Thursday. So what is it people do? And I think, Andrew, let's maybe look at this from kind of normal kind of consumer retail businesses, and I think that's. We maybe don't need to go into huge amounts of detail there, but I think it'd be good to kind of hear maybe some of the advice that you're giving some of our clients, some of our kind of retail clients, and B2C clients especially. So yeah, what kind of advice would you say to them in terms of, right, how do they kind of get involved if they kind of haven't already?
Yeah, it's a good question. So look, I'd say first and foremost, if you haven't thought about Black Friday, you need to start thinking about it now. So from that consumer-driven environment, either you have an online business or you have an offline business, but you're dealing direct to consumers. It's an opportunity to have a conversation, with your existing customers or prospects. Okay. So first and foremost, as we've established that it is something that we can all get involved in, we need to be thinking about that. Now, from an online perspective, traditionally, it's costlier to invest in ads during this period, but the return on that investment is higher because it's just basically more people online in a buyer mood. Okay, so they're ready to buy. That's the only reason they're going online. It's the only reason they're going to the shops. It's the only reason they're going out, because they want to spend. There's that kind of buyer mentality. So we want to make sure that we're communicating with them. So if you haven't already, now is the time to start making sure that you do have something to offer to them. So it's not just, hey, come and shop, it's Black Friday. It's these are the Black Friday, deals that you can expect, or this is what we're doing for Black Friday that's special for, and it may be a chance to acquire data. So it may be, look, listen, sign up now. You'll be the first to get a Black Friday email or the first to get a Black Friday WhatsApp, right? Depending on what kind of data you want to collect. But it's an opportunity to potentially reach out to your existing customer base and also grow your customer base in the lead up to next Thursday, right? So first and foremost, think about that. Think about the offering that you're going to put out there, and then also think about how you're going to communicate this kind of going, to that point, right? You need, the whole kind of got to be in it to win it, right? There's no point kind of sitting back and saying, well, okay, that's irrelevant. No, it's a holiday, leap on it. Look at the Hallmark example. The greeting cards industry has invented days just so they can sell cards, right? Mm-hmm. Valentine's Day, there's one. I'm probably going to get a lot of abuse for that. But there's a whole host of other make-believe holidays that basically are driven by Hallmark and the greeting cards business. So this is a holiday that is a shopping holiday, it's a spending holiday, it's a buying holiday. So make sure you're on there, yeah?
Okay. And key points, get involved early, don't leave it till the last second, I guess, right? If it's more expensive to advertise on that day.
Yeah, and you're not too late, remember. So this isn't, the reason that we're having this conversation today is because we want to capture people that perhaps haven't thought about this, right?
Yeah.
You're not too late. So don't, think, wow, okay, it's 10 days away, right? What can I do? Well, you can jump on it now. You can start looking at your offer and you can start getting something out. Yes.
Okay, cool. Anything else from kind of retail businesses, B2C businesses?
Yeah, so I think the thing is, use this as an opportunity as well to increase further purchase. So by buying something on Black Friday entitles you to a discount or a value add or a special gift on your next purchase. Yeah. So not only encouraging people to purchase and spend on this particular day on Black Friday, but then encourage them to spend more. Now, remember, Black Friday is on Friday. If you want to release your sale early and go for it after Thursday and go for it Sunday and Saturday and Sunday, you can also expand your holiday. So just because it's Black Friday doesn't mean that you can't turn around and say, hey, listen, we know it's Black Friday, but we're so excited. We're celebrating 4 days of Black Friday, whatever the case may be. So you can manipulate that holiday how you want based on what you have to offer. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Andrew, you mentioned something I felt was interesting, and that was that kind of buyer mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of, you know, where people are, you know, going into stores or they're going online, you know, and what they're thinking about is looking for a deal, looking to make a purchase. Does that transition into B2B then, for example, right? Because I know we've spoken about this quite a lot between ourselves and also to some of our clients, but where is that opportunity? I mean, if people have got that kind of buying mindset, looking for deals, looking to, you know, that's not everyone's in that kind of mood every day, right? But if
No,
this is like,
especially at
you
the
know,
moment.
right, and especially, I guess we almost have to look at it and extend that a little bit and say, well, if I'm a buyer and I've got that kind of consumer buyer mindset, how does that also mean I'm kind of almost likely to make B2B purchases if that's what my position allows, right? Because again, you know, mindset is mindset, right? I think it's very difficult to have kind of two different mindsets at the same time, but potentially if people are kind of open to being marketed to, being advertised to on Black Friday because they want to be aware of the best deals. I think one thing we haven't spoken about in the consumer world is that impulse buying that must happen on all of
Yeah,
these days
yeah,
that you must have mentioned, right? I
yeah,
mean, I don't think, you know, some people will say, right, I'm looking for this product, I'm going to go online and I'm going to buy it
yeah.
because it's going to be cheaper. But while they're there, like you said, they might be buying 4 or 5 other things that they hadn't even thought about, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so,
Yeah, those
yeah,
those in the retail world, the kind of items by the till. I mean, I'll be
yeah,
honest with you. I was at a hardware store the other day, buying just buying some sealant and stuff, and there was a Leatherman knife with a money clip, and I had it in my hand, and I'm like, that's amazing. That's me. I'm going to buy that. And then I'm like, I don't use money anymore. I just use Apple Pay. So effectively, I'm buying a Leatherman money clip. Why wouldn't I just buy a Leatherman? And then I'm like, well, hold on, I've got a few Leathermans anyway, so I actually put it back. but yeah, that kind of when you're in that buying mood, that wouldn't have even entered my head, right? If I
yeah,
wasn't even in the store and buying something else. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So I think let's play to that, right? So let's
Yeah,
assume that if someone's in that kind of mindset, that there's an opportunity from a B2B perspective
yeah.
to kind of
I
enter to enter almost like this, I don't know, this kind of guarded wall where people are quite, you know, blocked away and they kind of, you know,
yeah.
try and hide away from being marketed to or being advertised to. And now all of a sudden there's a bit of an opening because they're looking for deals and they're looking for opportunities. And perhaps that's that opportunity for B2B to kind of come in there and really kind of start to either plant some seeds or communicate, right? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think there's two points, and you raised this. You know, it's that opportunity for eyeballs, right? And by that we talk about this, quite a lot. Where essentially, if they're in that buyer mode, they're also in that research phase. They're spending more time looking for something, okay? And that may be something they've wanted for 6 months, or it may be something they don't even know they need, right? But they're still looking. So there's an opportunity. There's going to be a lot more eyeballs out there, right? So there's an opportunity to get your product or your service in front of those individuals at the right time. Yeah. So there's more people, looking. There's more people researching. There's more people making recommendations. Oh, have you seen this? Have you seen this? I just saw this. There's more of those conversations happening. So you've got an engaged audience for one, and then two, you've got a buying mentality, right? Which is golden. So this is a real opportunity to start communicate with that, and it may seem a bit of an odd transition from that B2C play into that B2B play, but there's definitely opportunities. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely opportunities. So I think first and foremost, one of these opportunities is almost kind of just the fact that you can reach out to them. Yeah. So you
Okay.
can use the holiday as an opportunity to reach out to your customer base or some of your prospects, because sometimes it's difficult to reach out to your customers, right? In that B2B world, especially now where a lot of it has moved online, it may not be that coffee or that beer, right? Casual conversation. Hey, listen, can we meet for 30 minutes to have a conversation about X? There's a good excuse to kind of reach out to these kind of your customers and your prospects now, right? hanging on the coat of there. But there's also, you know, the opportunity to create some loyalty around that as well, right? So, you know, again, locking people in, existing customers, and perhaps doing something different for them during this time. So it may be, you know, a discount, it may be a value add, it may be a giveaway. So you're kind of getting involved in the party, right? You're kind of really, you know, jumping on board, as it were.
Yeah, I like that. I think that does make a lot of sense. No, Andrew, I think, you know, in that kind of B2B space, I think Black Friday becomes much more interesting, right? Because we're talking about products which typically have a higher value. We're talking about maybe even higher kind of volumes of certain stock items, depending on, you know, if it's a wholesale business, for example. And the other thing I think is, you know, well, services. I mean, when you start to even include services within this, right? It's a non-kind of product offerings. How, you know, what are your kind of thoughts there? I mean, how do you kind of differentiate between these in terms of how you kind of look at this and how you kind of offer these out there to potential customers on Black Friday?
Yeah. So look, I think the thing is that just because, you know, in let's say the B2C world, it's an opportunity to purchase something, have it in your hands, you know, on that day, right, or the next day. Okay, it's a real-time purchase, as it were. There's an opportunity in the B2B space to lock in business, right, or secure business, or pre-book services, all based around the fact that if it happens on this day, today, we lock this in, we can give you X, right? So what you can start to do is you can start to lock in some booked business effectively, yeah? So again, it's that excuse to have a conversation with them and offer them additional value and book in those services. So it may be, for example, you know, traditionally you've kind of don't discount your services. If we're talking about professional services, it's not a discounted environment, you know, or you want to kind of look at loading the funnel. This is an opportunity to reach out to somebody and start having a conversation saying, listen, you know, today's pretty special, right? If you do this, this, and this today, we can lock you in for the next 6 months. We can lock you in for the next year. So just because it's an individual day and it's Black Friday day, as it were, as a day, is an opportunity to offer something, you know, past that date, right? So we don't necessarily have to lock all of our services in today because it just may not be practical. So it's more of an opportunity, again, to leverage the day. This is what it's about. It's about leverage, right? It's about opening communication and leveraging that opportunity of people in that buyer mentality, and then, you know, realizing how you can do that.
Yeah, I like that. I think the opportunity to communicate is huge. So, you know, again, make yourself visible on that day. I think that's really valid. So from a services perspective, gives you an opportunity to book in a service or book in whatever it is for a future period. I think that makes total sense. What about those kinds of B2Bs who are selling products, for example?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of opportunities have these guys got?
I think you've got a great excuse on Black Friday to look at things, you know, that particularly are, I guess, consumers and even in B2B space are essentially nervous of or suspicious of. And by that, I mean things like stock clearance, right? So, you know, if you've got, you know, I don't know, it might be, you know, routers, right? Or switches or routers or whatever in the IT space. It may be, you know, high value printers. There may be a suspicion, you know, around the fact, oh, listen, we've got this incredible deal. Why? Why is there an incredible deal? Is there a new model coming out? Is there this? You know, have you not sold anything because of COVID? What's the deal? And I think, you know, in that space, when you're effectively box shifting and you've got a physical product, whatever that case may be, this is an opportunity to say, listen, Black Friday, this is your kind of one-shot deal to get involved and potentially get the latest model, but at a price you won't get tomorrow or the next day or next month, right? So again, you can lock your customers in, giving them additional value. Now, it doesn't always necessarily have to be a discounted opportunity. It could be something completely irrelevant, right? And by that, I mean, it could be the opportunity, buy now and get a TV, right? And as crass as that sounds, I think you and I know firsthand that, you know, there's sometimes people that influence decisions to buy. and benefit indirectly from that. And it's okay. So when we've got, kind of PAs and office managers and things like this that are, getting back to that loyalty piece that we spoke to at the beginning, how can we generate a bit more loyalty with our customers? Well, ultimately, the people that, benefit from not only using the products and services, but also, just engaging and purchasing them right now, as opposed to, down the line, again, gives you an excuse to, give out that giveaway, right? Yeah. Otherwise, any other time of the year, if you reached out to your customer and said, hey, listen, if you buy them the next 7 days and lock in your services or lock in your products for the next 6 months, you're going to get a TV. It feels odd, right? Yeah. But Black Friday special, lock in services for the next 7 days, and we guarantee everyone's going to get an iPhone. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's an easier pill to swallow, again, because you're communicating with people that are in that buyer mentality, right? So there's an easier opportunity. It's a nice win.
Yeah, look, I think that makes total sense. And funnily enough, that example, we've got a client in New York that I was in their office. Must have been about this time last year, and they were super busy, and they were trying to kind of just share kind of what their sales tactics and things like that were. And these guys sell industrial printers. And one of their tactics is using Black Friday as that opportunity to, actually they did a couple of interesting things. The first thing was, look, they're like, this is our opportunity to get rid of old stock. So whatever's sitting in a warehouse, whatever's gathering dust, whatever is potentially just losing us money by just sitting there, that's our opportunity to get rid of it. But the second thing they do is they say, we also sell a whole load of brand new products at full price. But the way we do that is by other giveaways and value adds. And if you buy this, we'll give you this. And if you buy this, if you spend $20,000, we'll give you this. And they were saying that one day accounts to 24% of their annual sales now, right? And it's a $100 million plus revenue business.
Great.
But they were kind of looking at things going, look, this is great. And we've got really, really good at selling to people on this specific day. But what we've got pretty not so good at is selling our goods on other days. Right? Because, and like, and they're like, it's brilliant. We just know that November's going to be such an awesome month for us, and nobody takes time off, and everyone's out there to make their commissions and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is, nobody buys anything from us in October, because that's our worst month. Because if they need a printer, they're going to figure out a way to hold off
wait till November.
November. But he goes, look, the one thing that we have figured out is those new products we don't discount. And he goes, and that's great because it helps our margins, fast tracks everything. Which means that we always have a good kind of end of the year. But I guess that's kind of like something to be aware of. But going back to your point on loyalty, I think one of the points he also said was what they've been doing is training loyalty, right? Because if somebody else comes into play and says, right, buy our printer, don't buy it from this company, buy it from us instead, they have got in the back of their minds, well, if I just buy it from these guys, I'm going to get an iPhone, I'm going to get a TV, I'm going to get, all of these kind of different value adds. And he goes, what that's done is people are just now in a habit. And obviously this is a US-based company. So, they've been doing this for maybe 10 or 12 years now, right? It's not a new thing. But I think it's smart. But I also understand their challenges because again, I think one of the things they also said is, that's also the time of year when they really start to communicate with their clients. So they haven't helped themselves, if that makes sense, right?
Fair enough. It's like eggs in one basket, right? Look, I think you said something important. You said something important there. It's all about first movers, right? And I think, one of the reasons that we honestly wanted to talk about this now is because as far as we're aware, not many companies are embracing this in the B2B space here, right? Sure. Regionally and also in Europe, okay? We've seen some examples, like you said, in the US, on our travels. But I think it's still relatively new in some of the other markets we operate in, like Middle East and Asia and Europe. So there is a real opportunity to be that that first move. And you know what? Because of the situation we find ourselves in at the moment, no one will really care if it doesn't work, right? And by that I mean you're not going to have customers that kind of look down on you or frown. You're trying new things, right? So I think even inside your organization, if you're that position where you want to make a recommendation or a suggestion, or we get a lot of business owners watching this. This is the opportunity to try new things. So this is definitely something that again you can take advantage of, remembering that people are in that buyer mentality, that buyer habit. It's an opportunity to reach out. It's a discussion point. Even if it doesn't translate to a sale right now, it's still an opening for a discussion point, right? Which is sometimes challenging in that B2B space. You don't know necessarily how to approach, or you've been in communication over a period of time and you've exhausted the communication. This is another opportunity for sure.
Okay. So I think that B2B space, I think you got two different types of opportunity. I think the first is data collection, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Right. So let's let's kind of collect as much data as we can in a build up to Black Friday.
Yeah.
Let's then think about what we can do with that data come Black Friday. Okay, because obviously that's gonna help. But let's talk about some different and specific examples, right? So say for example, you're a services company. I think let's go back to service because I still feel that's the most challenging side of this, right? So a lot of services businesses maybe don't have high margins, but assume we've got kind of average margins. Maybe there's 30 or 40% margins out of that, right? What is it that a services business can do on Black Friday which doesn't potentially undermine their pricing policy moving forward? Because I think that would also be a concern if it's a discount-oriented offer.
Yeah. Look, I think we have to, stare down to a couple of different things. So one is potentially that value add or something outside the sphere of the service. Yeah. So engaging with us will give you X, right? And whatever that X may be, right? So you can choose and determine whatever X may be, but it won't be a discount against your services. It just may be something completely random and completely different, but still valuable. Okay. And that could be in your sphere, obviously, or it could be something that just everyone may want, right? From there. So I think the thing is that's kind of first and foremost. I think also there's an opportunity potentially to not bundle but group certain services together over a period of time. So what you're doing is you're locking people into a longer engagement. But by locking them in, you're effectively offering additional value again. So you're not discounting your services, you're providing more value over a sustained period of time. So typically if an engagement may be 3 months, it may be topping up to 6 months and adding on different modules or different value associated to that as well. So I think those are kind of two areas that kind of you could look at from a service perspective.
Okay, so if you're selling subscriptions, maybe add another couple of months or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's it. And if you're offering that freemium model, perhaps it's offering additional value. So instead of jumping up 1 tier, it's 2 tiers, right? Interestingly, there's actually a few SaaS companies specifically. We're using one of them, like ClickUp, that are offering lifetime lock-in. So buy a lifetime membership, buy a lifetime lock-in value. Slack and some of these other SaaS platforms are pulling that in as well. And again, I feel like that would be scary any other time of the year. If a company was saying, I'll lock you in for lifetime, this is the value, I don't know, alarm bells, or I'd smell something. But when it's associated to a Black Friday, okay, cool, this makes sense, right? Everyone else is jumping on, so there's something I can do there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, yeah, and I think for companies, I mean, if Netflix did that, I got an email through this morning saying that's going up again in price, right? So
yes, yeah,
right, yeah. So I guess it makes sense.
Imagine if you could lock something in, right? You lock something in, even if it's next 5 years or whatever. There's an opportunity there. Because again, people in that buying decision mode where it's like, okay, well, it makes sense. I'm happy, builds in that loyalty, locks me in, all good.
What about payment terms then? Is that something that people could offer as a, like a, and again, I'm thinking very much B2B and B2B service or subscription or anything like that, where, potentially you could absorb the cost of onboarding that client for the 3 months, 4 months. I don't know. Is that something that we kind of advise people?
Yeah, I mean that's down. I'd say that's very down to kind of individual circumstance. I think if that is a deciding factor, and obviously there's a payment term opportunity in there, that may be something that you also want to look at. I think to a certain extent, if we're saying that people are in a buying mode and they've got that kind of buyer mentality, they'd be more willing to spend. So perhaps if you do lock them in to a longer period, but you offer some financial incentives from a payment perspective over a longer period of time, I think that kind of sweetens the deal as well.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
I think the thing is that what we want to try and do, Amit, is we want to just try and get people thinking, right? So if you're watching this and you're listening to this now, how can I apply some of this to my business, right? That's really what it is. So it's almost like that jolt, right? That jolt. Start thinking about it, because guaranteed, most B2B business were not thinking about Black Friday as an opportunity. So I think the thing is that we have to kind of spark an interest and spark a discussion. Now, it may be that you roll the dice and you say, you know what, no, I'm not gonna go for it. But really, this is the ideal time, the ideal opportunity to hook into something that really makes sense for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, no, true. And I think there's definitely some positivity out there because of the vaccine and things like that as well, right?
Yes.
So I think from a timing perspective, this does feel like a time when people would be thinking to kind of maybe make decisions that they've been, I don't know, perhaps putting off. So
yeah. I mean, I think going back to that kind of B2C sector, but also as business owners, look at the tourism industry, look at the hotel industry. Now, as you said, there's some positivity. Clearly, people are spending money. So we've looked at the statistics as far as there's an increase on Prime Day and some of these Cyber Monday, and some of these increased Singles Days up. Prime is up on last year. So people are still in a mindset to spend money. So if, for example, are people now looking to next summer, or even next festive season? Well, okay, if at worst, surely by next Christmas, right, for us, or the festive season, we should be able to travel quite safely again. So let me think about buying now. I mean, interestingly, one of the regional players here, Etihad, said, look, sign up for this deal. This was 2 weeks ago, and there's just a nominal fee to change flights, your dates. Yeah. So it's kind of, they were locking in loyalty, they were locking in those flights, but also giving people the flexibility to move, right, based on that engagement. So look, it may be a model for B2B as well. So the other point, not just payments and added value, but it may be offering flexibility. So lock in these services now, and we can reevaluate them in 6 months' time, or we can reevaluate in 3 months' time. You can give them flexible terms.
Yeah, that makes real sense, because I mean, look, we sat through a keynote in Boston a couple of years ago, right, where HubSpot were talking, and it was Brian Halligan, the CEO, and he was basically saying, look, all of the research shows that a company that's easy to work with is a company that will be successful. And that easy to work with component was not just about making it easy for people to sign a contract to work with you, but if you needed to break that contract for whatever reason, make that frictionless, make that whole process really easy. And then you've got you've got a chance of success. And they gave all these examples of all of these companies that are doing really well. I think you've spoken about it on this show, the mattress people. Where you can sleep on that mattress for a week or a month or whatever, send it back. The car guys, Carvana, where essentially, you can take the car, drive it around for 2 weeks, and if you don't like it, you get a full refund.
Get it back.
Right? And I think if we look at that kind of B2B space, maybe that's part of it, right? Again, if your product, if your service, your business kind of allows that, how do you get clients to kind of sign up with you and potentially exit quicker? And I think what Etihad have done is smart. I got a feeling, I got a feeling next, and especially now with the vaccine news, we're going to see a whole abundance of hotels and airlines doing Black Friday offers next week. And because it's going to be a land grab, right? They know people are kind of desperate to travel, desperate to go away on holiday. You know, hotels are trying to claw back kind of lost business. And I just feel as if there's going to be a whole lot of activity in that space next week. You know, just on the basis that there's a little bit more positivity. And I think as long as they say, hey, there's free cancellation, or like what Etihad said, where it's a $15 cancellation fee, right? No one minds losing $15 if they're getting a good deal on a flight where they're saving a couple $100 per ticket. Right? So as long as I think it is, you know, it's easy to kind of break contracts as well as kind of get into them. Maybe that's you know, a Black Friday special where it's like, hey, any contracts that come in on this day, you know, there'll be zero penalty. We'll give you a refund if you pay. I mean, like, just to really make that whole process easy. And then it's up to the business to prove that, okay, look, we don't want to lose that customer, right? We don't want to lose that client. Let's give them the best kind of value back. And I think perhaps maybe that's something, right? Again, it doesn't include discounting, but just, that's right. You know, just makes the whole process easy.
Definitely. No, look, I think the thing is, it like, you know, it's getting that kind of thought process going. So how does this apply to my organization? How does this kind of behemoth of Black Friday, what can I do? What's the opportunity that's there for me? How can I leverage it, right? That's basically what it is, because it's the way everyone should be thinking now, right? There has to be something that we can try, you know, or pivot or whatever, right? It has to be that mindset now. And this is, you know, a huge kind of, you know, gorilla in the room. So, you know, or elephant in the room that we want to latch onto and kind of, you know, definitely try and get some business out of it, right?
Yeah, and I think that there's one important point. Like those guys in the States I was talking about, they've been doing it for years, right? And they've like slowly trained, you know, their clients to think that way. It's a guaranteed like bumper revenue day. So I guess one of these things is, look, if you're going to try something this year, perhaps think about trying two things, right? You know, maybe think about split testing your databases. You know, so is it sending out one offer to half a database and another offer to the other half? Maybe this year is that year of learning, because again, many B2Bs won't have engaged any Black Friday sales. And then maybe look at this from a kind of long-term perspective, right? What is it that we can do moving forward, right? So
definitely.
You know, so don't think of this as, okay, we'll just try it this year and leave it at that. Well, no, let's try and learn as much as we can this year. Because next year we've perhaps got a larger, or you know, a longer kind of build up. The world might be a slightly different place and hopefully a better place by then. And you know, at that point, you know, we've got insights from this year that we can kind of, you know, really kind of use and leverage into next year's campaigns.
Oh, 100%. Data.
I mean, the numbers you've shown, I think that's so good for context, because it shows, right? If you're talking about 50% increase in, you know, for Amazon and, you know, essentially even more so for people like Alibaba, which includes B2B, you know, Black Friday is not going away, right? So I guess it's almost you know, the sooner you kind of embrace it, maybe as a B2B or as a non-traditional Black Friday associated business, then we, you know, you're into that first mover advantage area. But not only that, well, as your sort of competitors start to kind of follow suit, maybe next year, the year after, you've already got 2 years of insights ahead of them.
You're ahead, exactly.
You know, I think 100%. Cool.
Nice. That's we're coming up to the hour. Believe it or not. Just think that.
I think that was really useful. I'll be honest with you, Andrew. I'm not that kind of, you know, Black Friday, you know, kind of wait and then shop. If there's a deal and I kind of see something I like, I'll just get it. And I have, like in the past, if I know I've got a trip coming up to the States and Black Friday's a week or two before, then I've gone on and bought and then just delivered stuff to the hotel or wherever I'm going to stay. You know, and picked it up when I've got there. And definitely it's like, you know, it's interesting, but again, I think it's more this year that people have started thinking slightly outside of the box with Black Friday.
Exactly.
You know, and I think it's important. These are good, important kind of conversations.
Yeah, definitely. Look, again, you know, this whole show, Amit, as you know, is to generate ideas, generate discussion. That's what it's about, right? So, you know, it's having these kind of conversations, and then you know, saying, well, okay, how can we apply that to our business, right? Or how can I apply it to my new startup? Or that's a great idea. I want to use that there. So, you know, this is the whole purpose of this. So, yeah, look, again, guys, we appreciate you listening and watching us. Thank you very much. We're obviously out there across all the podcasts. This show goes up on digitalnexa.com. It also goes up on YouTube. So give it a subscribe and a like and a share. You know, catch up with me and Amit on LinkedIn. So you can hook up us on LinkedIn, and we're always happy to have a chat, even on the back of this. If it's like, okay, guys, you know, I've got X company, what can I do? Let's have a chat together. You know, if you don't have anyone that you can potentially bounce some ideas off, always, we're happy to jump in on that as well, right, Amit?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks again, as always, for kind of tuning in. So what's that, 29 next week, Andrew?
That's it, boom, 29.
Getting close to 30 now. So yeah, look, we're enjoying this. And I think we've also got, you know, some kind of new sort of additions and features that we're running through to make the show even better as well. So guys, thanks for your support. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
Excellent. See you later, Amit. See you, everyone.
Cheers, Andrew. All right, take care.